Thanks for clicking on to the Tuesday evening edition from Boroughbridge in Yorkshire. Fairly decent day across the southern half of the British Isles. Drove up from Portsmouth this morning, arrived back into Portsmouth about 7 a.m. this morning. It was dark pretty much when I arrived, but skies very quickly brightened, of course, and feeling quite mild, 17, 18, even 19 degrees on the drive up to Yorkshire through the course of today. But having a conversation with my parents, it was a very soggy day across the central belt. All thanks to this area of low pressure that has been draped across the central portion of Scotland through a decent portion of today. Notice an area of low pressure here to the west of Ireland. That system is going to move in during this evening, enhancing further outbreaks of heavy, persistent rainfall across many areas of the country here. But notice this deep area of low pressure up towards Iceland. The GFS chart indicating pressure at 957 millibars as of 3 p.m. this afternoon. But certainly it showed up very nicely indeed on the visible satellite image. This was a capture this afternoon that I tweeted out. So very impressive and deep area of low pressure. Very nice hook of cloud. So there was the reason why we're seeing such heavy persistent rain across Scotland, Northern England, parts of Ireland through a decent portion of today, and that frontal system extends all the way down into the central portion of the North Atlantic. But of course, to the south of that frontal system, we drew our air in from the subtropical Atlantic. So, that is the reason why we're seeing some fairly pleasant conditions by early October standards, should I say. But notice here behind the frontal system, we've got some cold air getting fed in off Greenland here. So that centre of low pressure over Iceland, cold air coming in around the backside, warm subtropical air getting lifted out of the central North Atlantic, travelling a good 1,500 miles probably, all the way into the southern and central portion of England and Wales. These are the current temperatures as of recording at 15 minutes past 5 p.m. And we've got temperatures into the mid-teens across northern Scotland, as you can see here, and then down across more southern areas of the country. We're seeing a few 18s, even a 19 degrees at Coningsby in Lincolnshire here. So, and that, of course, is the home of the new UK heat record set back in July here. So, yeah, we've got a fairly wet outlook to speak about. Of course, I alluded to that in yesterday's post in particular about the effects that Ian is having on the jet stream over North America, enhancing these pulses of stronger jet stream winds crossing the Atlantic and sending stormy conditions, or should I say wet and windy conditions, our way. But through the course of this evening, we've got a kind of area of low pressure that kind of deepens as it crosses the UK. Windy conditions, yes, but it's probably going to more enhance the rainfall, I think, during this evening, overnight, and into tomorrow. I think that is going to be the main aspect of this system, as opposed to bringing stormy conditions like I did mention yesterday, the potential for stormy conditions developing because of that area of low pressure deepening as it crosses the UK. We've got the dynamics in place sometimes for enhanced winds in the mid-levels transferring down to the surface, but that I don't think is going to be the case. But it will enhance wet conditions across the British Isles, and that will bring further rain to what we've seen. Now, of course, Northern England, Central Scotland, Western Scotland, Highland Scotland, we've seen quite a lot of rain in the last week or so, and this is going to enhance the rainfall even more. So it's all part of this longer term, theory, if you will, that we could see a change, and a dramatic change, from the persistent dry conditions that we've seen a decent part of this year, not just the last few weeks, not just the last month or two, but actually extending all the way back even into last year, was seen, this consistent dryness, and I think a lot of that's to do with La Nina and other aspects as well, Madden-Julian oscillation, possibly the low solar activity as well, but that too is starting to rise the solar activity as well. But it does look as if we have got further rain, further significant rain in the future, in the near future, that is, for the British Isles here. So we'll continue with this theme where we've got high pressure stretched out from the central Atlantic, extending into the central and southern portion of Europe. We've got also low pressure stretched out, south of Greenland, North Atlantic, extending all the way into the north of Scandinavia here. So we've got this kind of persistent flat zonal jet, strong in nature, allowing these systems to develop and bring further disturbed weather to the UK here. So, it looks as if we are going to continue to see this setup as we progress through into the central port. I'm doing very well tonight, aren't I? It's been a long day. It's been a long week, and hopefully I'll be back home again tomorrow night. But it looks as if we're going to continue to see on into the middle portion of October systems pushing into the British Isles, and we could see some fairly deep areas of low pressure that is pushing into the UK. Notice here one mil run, of course, but it has a 966 millibar low centered over the west of Scotland for Thursday of next week, or is that the week after? I think it actually is, the 13th of October, and it actually deepens even further as it moves into the North Sea. So you get the overall idea, a fairly neutral NAO at this moment in time that is going to continue to keep a fairly flat upper level setup. Low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south Atlantic, very much the main driving aspect at the moment here. And warmer than normal conditions, I think, is going to persist as well. Warmer than normal Atlantic, you've got the air coming off that, so therefore you're going to see warmer than normal temperatures as a result of that. A fairly mobile pattern, it looks like, as we go into at least the middle portion of this month. Looking at precipitation, and we've got plenty of it to speak about through the next several days and even the next couple of weeks. It looks as if we are going to see the greatest amounts of rainfall extend from the Atlantic into the West Highlands, in particular, northwest of England, western portion of Wales, Western Ireland as well. All these areas that are susceptible to seeing wet conditions, especially upslope areas of Ireland, England, Wales and Scotland, especially the West Highlands. We could see a good couple of 100 millimetres of rain over the next 7 days with this type of pattern. So you get the overall idea. Even looking at this total precipitation chart, you can see where the high pressure is versus where the low pressure is and where the storm track is, and it's all pointing towards the UK and northwestern Europe. So certainly interesting, that's for sure, when it comes to the longer term pattern later on in the month of October and in the November. The weather that we see could be reflected into the early portion of the winter season, and you want to see wetter conditions as we go, particularly into the month of November, and that can sometimes lead to where the wettest conditions do form during the late portion of the autumn season. Sometimes that's where the cold likes to go during the winter season, so we'll keep an eye on that anyway. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Do please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that like button as well to encourage more traffic to the channel. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.